Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
You're watching Now Let's Review. We're going to be reviewing the ECOROAD EC6 scooter next.
Let's start off with the price. $219 on Amazon.
I mean, it's one of the cheapest scooters on Amazon. I looked around. Yes, you can find a couple others with coupons that are cheaper, but this is definitely down at the bottom. So is it worth it? I mean, why would you buy it?
I want to first of all start off by saying that I actually kind of really like this scooter, especially for the price.
Yeah, I mean, I see your footprints are still on it. You've been riding around again this morning.
I think that the best thing that I can say about this e-scooter is it is a cheap gateway drug into electric micromobility. If you were kind of on the fence, if you're like, e-scooters, am I really gonna? This is like the cheapest way for you to just suss out and see whether or not you'd like this. That, to me, is a good reason to buy it if you were on the fence about it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of risk. I mean, even if it only lasts you a year, which it probably will only last you, it's, you know, for $219, I think if you get a lot of use out of it, it's probably worth it because it's such a cheap way to ride.
Now, this is essentially a, not one-for-one clone, but a almost identical clone to the original 9-bot e-scooter, which kicked off this whole craze, what was it, back in 2016, 2017. This is a heck of a lot cheaper than that e-scooter.
Right, because not only is it half the cost, but also if you include inflation, so it's
a third the cost, and then if you include inflation, it's like insane.
Because they mass-produce these, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of them, so you know, that's how they did it. It's got a small platform deck, so if you're a rather large rider, you are going to have trouble finding room for your foot, but that's fine. It's got a great folding mechanism. The only thing I really don't like is that it comes with pneumatic tires. I thought it didn't at first because they're so hard, but they have valve stems. These are pneumatic. Now you might be like, isn't that good? It soaks up the bumps. The problem is there's tubes in here, and we've talked about this before. They're gonna pop, and when they pop, they're hard to change. And in fact, they come with 2 replacement tubes because they know you're gonna pop them.
Right. Now, this is what the tube looks like, and if you're like, hey, that looks like some old cartoon when they were tubing down the river. That's because in the old cartoons, they were back in time, and back then, you used to have tubes in car tires, and they would pop all the time, which is why you've never seen a full-sized car inner tube before. You've only seen specially made inner tubes that you go rafting down rivers with, because they suck. And as soon as we had technology that allowed us to get away from this, we got away from this. Especially for some reason with scooter tires, they go flat all the time. Bikes, for some reason, don't have this problem. I think it's because of the larger radius of the wheel. There's like more room for the air to squish around. But these will pop on you. They will probably pop within the first 100 or so miles.
And I know what you're saying. Well, they sent me 2 replacements, so I'll just fix it. And we have videos showing you how to fix it. It's just that it's not easy.
Is it $200 easy, or is it $60 easy? Because you can probably take it somewhere and for maybe in the $60 to $100 range get the tube changed out. But then you're paying half the price of the scooter just to get the tube fixed.
Here's my little hack for you. Find one of these on Amazon that has solid rubber tires.
Yes, they do sell them on Amazon. They will tell you that they have solid tires. Now, it won't soak up the bumps, but these tires are so small anyway. If you're soaking up the bump, it's a sacrificial thing. It's going to pop very quickly. That is the biggest downside of these scooters. I would say, though, that there are some applications where you might be able to get away with buying a scooter like this.
Light riders. So if you have kids and they're not that heavy, it won't put as much strain and be less likely to hurt the tube. The other thing is if you're not accelerating a lot. So if you're keeping your speeds low, then they're going to last a lot longer.
And let's talk about some of the features of this e-scooter, because I actually like them a bit better than the original 9-bot. The first one is that there are 3 different speed settings.
Yep.
So the first one is basically like a walking speed.
Yeah, it's push assist, they call it, 4 miles an hour.
4 miles an hour, which is really interesting. It's interesting for a more like dense kind of neighborhood, or if there's a lot of people around. 4 miles an hour means that you can kind of squeeze through things, and it's still a way for you to kind of ride around.
Yeah, next up is Eco at 9 miles an hour, and that's a little too fast in my opinion if you're trying to go slow. I would have loved to have seen 6 miles an hour. That's like kind of the perfect slower speed. Well, and I should say you can just throttle lower and stay in that speed range. Also, there's cruise control. So once you are in cruise control, you've held that speed for like 6 seconds, you'll go into cruise control. And that can be nice if you're on a path where you don't need to change your speed a lot. Next speed is 16 mile an hour top speed. That would be if you're, you know, cruising around. And then top speed is 19 miles an hour, which isn't super fast. So if you're looking for something that's going to be screaming fast, this is not for you.
Maximum weight load is 220 pounds. So again, light riders. And the total weight of this entire unit is 25.4 pounds. So it is fairly liftable. It also has a folding and latching mechanism, so you can lift it up by this section here.
Oh, let's just do it.
Let's just do it. So, pretty decent folding mechanism. It's actually better than the original. Comes down, and then this little piece clips on like that, and then you can lift it just like that. And to undo it, you basically just flick the latch, and it comes up. And I kind of like that they didn't leave this loose, so you can kind of have it halfway up. It helps to, you know, have it be a little bit slower.
What I like is when it is locked in place, this is very tight. There's not any play, which is really nice. For brakes, it's got rear mechanical and front electric braking. Don't be fooled into thinking it has ABS, because it's not really. It's just that when you're not giving the motor any power, it will do braking for you. So that's great. And what I do like is that there's only one brake handle. Now you might be like, but I want two. Well, it's nice because that other right hand can be free a little bit more.
Again, this is for lighter riders or just for fun. And so, yeah, the brakes aren't going to be the selling point here.
Yeah, I mean, going downhill on this fast, you're going to want to be careful.
Yep.
It does come with this bag, and it comes with the 2 tubes as well. I'm not crazy about the bag because the bag blocks this headlight. Now, I like the headlight because the headlight's integrated, which is really cool. But the bag straps kind of keep the headlight from being that effective.
Let's talk about the bag. They threw in this bag. This bag obviously is produced in China, and you can probably buy it for 36 cents.
I mean, it's a 2-liter bag, and
2
it's
liter
great for
bag,
holding
yeah.
your cell phone and stuff.
Yeah, you can put your phone in it. It can definitely hold like a water bottle or something. It's fine. I mean, it's great to have a bag if you needed a bag. I think that you're probably not going to be riding this around at night, so the headlight probably isn't that important.
Although it just helps your visibility.
It helps, you know, other people see you.
But you know, this has more than a headlight. It has a tail light.
True.
And it has turn signals.
So I don't know if you can see this, but right on the handlebar has a little blinker, and you can switch it over to the other side as well, which you can't see because it's not pointed at you.
I was surprised that for $219 that you're getting turn signals. And while I don't think they're astounding, they do give you a little bit of visibility on the road. So any visibility helps.
Yeah, I think that you'd still want to throw out some hand signals if you're like on a major road, but it's cool.
Let's talk about the screen and the thumb throttle. So the thumb throttle is kind of a nicely integrated, you know, standard thumb throttle.
Nice and beefy. Doesn't feel like it'll snap off.
You do have to kick off in order to engage, which, I mean, is done for safety, and it's also done for range. It helps the range because then you're not starting from zero.
Yep.
So just be prepared for that. The screen is also integrated, which I like. It's not just sticking out, but it only tells you the bare bones. It tells you 5 bars of battery, it tells you your speed, and it tells you what mode you're in.
Yeah. Again, this is not a commuting scooter unless you
if it's
live
a short commute.
really close.
Well, let's talk about that. So let's talk about the range. They claim 12 to 15 miles. I think you'd be lucky to get 8.
Yeah.
That would really depend on hills, rider weight, how fast you're pushing it. So if you're riding very slow eco speeds on fairly flat terrain, I think 8 is a pretty good number. Then you're saying to yourself, okay, well, I do work 6 miles from home, so can I bring it to work and charge it? Well, you can. Because the battery's so small, it takes 4 hours to charge it 0 to 80%, 6 hours 0 to 100%. So you could charge it up at work.
Yep. Would you? Would you is the question. I honestly, depending on where you live and where you work, I would say that this is just a great little thing to take out for fun. I think that that is going to be the use case for it, is to go for a scoot. And this is where I think this thing truly shines.
I'm just going to say a couple other ideas that you could do with it. One would be a campus. I think this is really good for a high school or a college campus where you're not going that far, but maybe it's too far to get to the other side without being sweaty. And the other would be to throw it in the trunk of your car, and if you're going to a supercharger or you're going out to dinner, you could take it for a little scoot.
Yeah, I just wouldn't rely on it because the tires are going to pop. At some point, you're going to be riding it and you're going to be like, why am I riding so slow? And the tires will be popped, and you do not want to be far away from some form of conveyance to get you home. So that's my thought. Its biggest strength to me is to get you onto something that is electrically powered. It's a nice, cheap way to see if you like it. There are some people who will get on an e-scooter and they'll say, I hate it, I don't want to ride anything like this, I don't want to try e-bikes or anything. And then there's other people who will get on this and be like, oh yeah, this is fun. And this is a great way to kind of test it out. Obviously, you can do like an e-scooter rental, but if you don't live in a major city or anything like that, and you still want to be able to go for a scoot, this is probably something that will last you 6 months to a year, maybe 3 years if you're lucky. It's something that if you do end up fixing up after you pop the tires, you can give it, hand it down to a child that's in your family or something like that. And I mean like at least 11 and competent.
I think that the last piece is safety. So a lot of people riding scooters get hurt, and that is because they spend so little time on them. Once you ride a scooter, you have to get used to getting off of it in a certain way to not get hurt. And I think for a lot of us, especially if we're older, that's the part where we end up breaking a leg or something.
Closed-toed shoes.
Closed-toed shoes, I would always think of wearing long pants, or if it's too hot out, wearing some knee pads, because it's your elbows and your knees that are probably going to take the brunt, maybe even your hands. Because when you fall off this, you have to fall off correctly. And I think that's where people, it's the unexpected nature, right? You're going to hit something like it's going to catch the wheel and throw you.
Yep.
And if you're not ready for that and you're not quick, then you get hurt. And unlike a bike, which has bigger wheels and less chance that any little piece of gravel will throw you.
Right. This really should only be driven on concrete, really well-maintained asphalt, possibly concrete sidewalks that are really well-maintained. It only takes one relatively small pothole or bump to bring this front wheel to a stop because the wheel is so small.
Right.
And so this is the biggest problem with safety. This can happen where the whole thing is going to tilt forward, you're going to be thrown off, and the only thing that's going to be there to catch you are your arms. I do not want you to break both of your arms. That is very painful. Again, this is not an adventure vehicle. This is not something that you should take on places where you haven't walked. You should be only riding on places that you would be comfortable taking, like a baby stroller.
And the thing is, I think people get a false sense of security. You ride around for a couple of days and you're like, oh, what were these guys talking about? This is so easy. And as soon as you let your guard down, that's when something's going to happen to you. So I urge you guys, when you are riding these things, always stay vigilant, because that's probably what's going to keep you out of trouble.
Right.
Anyway, I hope we didn't scare you off from e-mobility. It is a lot of fun, and this is really cheap. So if you're looking for a first scooter, this could be the one for you. Let us know down in the comments what you think. Let us know about things you'd like us to review, and don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. We'll see you guys next time on Now Let's Review.